Hey everybody, it's Brett, and I just read a comment that wants makes me want to make a live video. Sorry, I just woke up. It was a full moon last night. Oh my God, I was so sick. For some reason, I think it really makes my immune system kick in whenever it's a full moon. But in any case, I just woke up and I read this comment and I was like, oh my God. People are going to have to go through so much stuff over this whole you know what. So I want to read this comment to you. This viewer, I've seen her before several times. She writes, "Hi Brett, I popped onto your channel to see what your thoughts were regarding this. And it's on the video, I am not going to play their game. We had an idea of what your thoughts would be. My husband is walking away, getting fired from his job of 22 years, making over 100 grand a year, because he has done a ton of research. My husband's brother is in his 50s. He lives a healthy, organic, active life, has for most of his life, healthy as a horse. He got the you know what for work, mistake. Has never had any health conditions. 2 days after the you know what he got, he had sharp pains in his stomach and intestines. Was constipated, which he's never been. Now, months later, he can't control his bowels. He was driving last week and it just comes on and he had to take a you know what on the side of the road, sitting on the guardrail. Imagine that. You can't control your bowels and you have to pull over and take a dump sitting on the guardrail. He went to his doctor and they did nothing. Called the GI doctor at the office and they said it would be months as they are seeing 300 patients a day from the same thing. We aren't perfect, but we do our best to eat healthy and organic and be mindful. We will not let them put fear into us. We are worried. Wait, lost my place. We are worried as we won't have an income, but in years to come, I think that we'll be better off. We wear masks, wash our hands, and are mindful of protecting us and others. It was nice to read others' comments on here as the media or other outlets aren't talking about the natural antibodies, about the deaths and the side effects. Why does the president and House not have to get it? Why do they not have to get it, but we do? They know something we don't. See, it makes people really suspicious, you know, all the unfairness of it all. I'm sorry, but we won't be lab rats. Why are they paying people or offering incentives? Why? Something is just not right. My husband will lose his job, yet he has worked from home for 2 years and they plan on working him from home in the future. He works for the government as an engineer, but they aren't offering weekly testing, and he'd be happy to pay for it. Sorry for ranting on. Just maddening. All the best. That's from Mustang Sally. So, you know, this is for the best for anyone that works for a government job. And I'll tell you that when I was very young, my dad told me that several things in regards to work. He said that partnerships were trouble. And my dad was business savvy, okay? The reason I'm self-employed is because I have it in the genes. And my dad was business savvy, and he had a little bit of experience being in a partnership, and he said avoid that. Don't ever get into a partnership, and also to avoid working for the government. Okay? The government, look at what they are. They're the biggest menagerie in the world. My dad told me that. Look at the US government is the biggest menagerie in the world. And there are perks to being under its umbrella. But if you're an individual, and what this is doing is making people more to be an individual instead of a government employee. Like if you're in the military, you have your military perks. You have your various bulk things you get health care. Okay, so is that good or not? You'll have to get all their V's. You'll have to get all their any kind of treatment that you don't necessarily agree with, but you do get it. So if you break your leg and you get it all paid for, but under other circumstances, it might not be so good. But here's the deal, like if you're a strong individual, do you want to have anything to do with the US government? No, because if you're a strong individual, then you can handle all of those things on your own without having Big Brother to help you. It's the same deal with relationships. If you're a strong individual, you don't need a husband or a wife as support. Okay, so the more of a strong individual you can be, the less you have to rely on and the less you have to kiss ass to somebody else. That's the bottom line. And being a strong individual means making tough choices. And this woman's husband is an engineer, okay? So maybe he's going to lose his $100,000 plus a year job and his seniority. But he can certainly go out and get an $80,000 a year job working for somebody else as an engineer. And if he's been saving money like he should have been for the last 22 years, then he should have plenty of money in the bank to be able to hang. But the question is, do you want to get the you-know-what and risk all these potential problems? And this brother of theirs, this brother of his, that she says always ate organic food and he's really healthy, this and that. Okay, so the rubber is hitting the road. And it's the rubber, one of the big road tests is, hey, how really committed are you? How truly committed are you to health and healing? I can tell you that for me, having been doing this for 29 years, it took 8 years to quit wheat and dairy. I mean, when I first quit, I dumped all the meds. I learned my lesson seriously about the medical industry. I dumped all the meds onto the bed and I took a picture of it. And then I took my arm, I went and got the garbage can from the kitchen. And I brought it in and I took my arm and I slid the whole effing thing into the garbage. Other than like some Tylenol. Some Tylenol, and there might have been a few things like, I don't know, face scrubbing things. But for the most part, I threw 95% of it away. And I'm not going back. I'm not going back. The other day, I wanted to make a for fun video where I called doctors and asked them various questions, you know, just to get them into the corner and make them squirm. So I start calling doctors, and guess what? I couldn't find one that was taking on new patients. And they were really rude. I was like, I'm looking for a new doctor. I was like really nice, you know. I was like, I'm looking for a new doctor. And the receptionists were just really rude. And I think that they're under the gun big time. If people are having a lot of health problems, because of this you know what that they've gotten, and the second one that they got. And here's another question, like the ones that got the first you know what, but they haven't got the second one, why? Why didn't they get the second one? Was it because the first one made them really sick? And so, in any case, I'm kind of getting out on several limbs here, but you can bet that I'll be the last one on the face of this earth. They'd have to come knocking on my freaking door with weapons and like kill me before they'll get any of that into me. That's the bottom line here on the home front, y'all. I want to leave. Hi, Sunny Moon. Hi, Rosalind. So I want to read a few more of the comments on that video. Once again, it was the video entitled, I am not going to play their game. Travis wrote, good to see you, Brett. We are at the part I warned people around me about. People warned me about since the start. They don't listen to anything but their handlers. My wife has until November to work for not having a you-know-what. Likewise, many fire and police workers in my area are being fired or retiring for not wanting one. Like you said, they have the answer for everything. In any sane society, we would learn from history. But as we see, current history is being written by the liars. Stay safe. When this passes and we come out from the other side, maybe, just maybe, the human race will have woken up about all the meaningless stuff and stop counting on you know who for their help. Maybe we'll throw away our tracking devices that we call cell phones, and I learn to appreciate nature and heal ourselves. You are wise and a total inspiration, Brett. Thank you. There are many millions of us who feel the same. I am a city employee. First, the state demanded these for their state employees, and now the city. I had you know what right in the beginning, and when there was no test, I never went to the doctor. But it was a different kind of sick. I never felt so sick in my life. So that was a year and a half ago. I don't want to get the you know what. I took a test that shows that I do have antibodies, but not sufficient trace amount. Whatever the hell that means. Point is, I've had it. Point is, I've had it. And I don't want the you know what. And they now tell me either you get the you know what or you get out of a job starting October the 18th. I don't know what to do. It's my only source of income and I can't afford to move. I feel stuck and lost. Lost. Frowny face. And I wrote back, get strong. It's your health. It's also principles and a duty to be true to yourself. And AS writes back, that's exactly it. It will never sit right with me that they made me do something against my will. Not only that, but they lied that these things are supposed to be to stop the spread, and well, they don't. I came to the States from Eastern Europe with my parents in my mid-teens, and I had an opportunity to either stay or go back. And I chose to stay, believing that you can be a self-made person and that you have the freedom of choice to do so. Unlike in the post-communist countries, and now I see how everything that I ever believed is going to hell. It's a sad thing that they want to keep us sacred and on to each other to create disturbance and hate. No uniting, it is just so sad and it frustrates me beyond return as I am not sure how to go about all of it. Michael DeVoe writes, thank you. Catherine writes, thank you so much, me either. Vocal Ethan writes, Brett, I'm vaccinated and now I'm worried I may be a bad person. What can I do? Please, I need your help. You are my hero. Well, I wrote, you are not bad, Ethan, not just very health-wise. Keep watching my videos and maybe you'll improve. Shell writes, take black cumin seed oil, my friend, super good. And then she wrote, I hate this system, hate it. And then she wrote, you are spot on. They won't even do autopsies on the dead who were jabbed. That says everything. Richard wrote on that, really, can you tell me where you read or heard that? And D Gold writes, people get the V for many reasons. Don't judge. Some do it for civic duty. What are the people doing that do not get the V? We need to hit herd immunity. I find that most people that do not get the B are selfish. You can imagine I had a few things to say about that. She meant the V. She meant that most people that do not get the V are selfish. I wrote, being selfish is what this channel is all about, D. For those of you that don't know, that's what the deal is. Being selfish is what this channel is all about. Taking care of yourself. Okay? And some people might say, well, yeah, but you should take care of other people also. Okay, so what my theory is that you should work on your own health, mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. When you get to the point of where you want to help people, you like honestly want to help people for whatever reason, then you're doing things for other people for yourself. You're not doing things for other people for them. The genuine way is to do things for other people because it makes you feel good. And as an example of something that might not make you feel good is if you thought that the other person was helpless. Okay, so that person is never going to be able to help themselves. Okay, so those of you that think that I'm not conservative, you better think in another way. Because in this regard, I'm logically conservative. I like to do things logically Democratic or Republican, conservative or liberal. I like to do, the logic is the key word here. It doesn't matter what it is. If you help somebody by giving them some money because you think that they are worth it because they'll do something of value that's sustainable with the money. They're going to invest that money in something to help themselves become more sustainable in the future. That is not liberal or conservative, Republican or Democratic. It's logical because we want people to be able to help themselves. That's what the channel is all about, helping yourself. And then if you get strong enough to the point of where you can help others and it makes you feel good, then you're benefiting by helping others. But if you're not strong enough then yet, or if it seems like a worthless cause to try and help somebody that's not worth helping, then don't. You just do things logically. Okay? So, have you paid any attention to what I've been telling you, Dee? We actually care about our own health. If you got the you know what, you might not. be around to talk about this subject in the future. You're not doing your health any favors by increasing that garbage in your body. It's not a civic duty. It's a stupid duty to listen to and follow the advice of the you-know-whos. I don't follow the you-know-whos or any organization. Other countries have I'm not sure what that means. Oh, this is her talking, sorry. I don't follow the you-know-what or any other countries. Other countries have that 70s and 80s threshold. I can't even read that. Some people just can't write. They're probably using a phone and they don't write things out clearly and you can't even tell what they're reading. So I'm going to skip all that because I think yeah. In any case, yeah, I'm not ever going to be getting it. I know you guys know that. I hope that you're the same. If you're just so insecure that you think that you need to, then go for it or whatever. But I'm all about natural health. And nobody can argue with that. In the beginning, there were people that were really argumentative about getting the you-know-what, as we all know. Those people are really toning it down. Those people are losing their credibility. They're losing their clout. And the longer this goes on, my guess would be that they're going to lose all of their credibility. And it's going to be kind of I don't know. I think that the countries that have mostly gotten the you-know-what are going to be the ones that are in the most health jeopardy. Because I think there's those long-term side effects. The good news, in my opinion, is that it wears off. It loses its effectiveness, which shows that it's going to lose its aggression in other regards. And I just pray that people's bodies are able to somehow compensate, and that at least a lot of the people that got the first one didn't get the second one. And God, I hope that they don't get any third you-know-what. That's all I can say. And once again, it's just really, really, I mean, it's so un-American that we have to talk like this and call it the you-know-what, blah, 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 blah. And, the YouTube policy is that anything that goes against the you-know-who is to be taken down. Get a strike on your channel, blah, blah, blah. I have to pay tax via court-ordered debt anyway. They hang up on me often since this pandemic. It's evil. Maura was excluded from her long-standing art group because she didn't get the you-know-what. She's considering making herself a leopard-style outfit. I'll tell you what, you guys, my body just keeps healing more and more. I've not had any tests. I've been sneezing a lot lately, and at first I thought it was the you-know-what, and then I was like, nah, it's just allergies, because when I go outside, that's when it hits me. I think there's pollen or something in the air. But who knows, maybe I've got it. It seems like I do so much cleansing, there's no way that I can really tell. And especially like last night when the full moon hits, man, I cannot tell you guys how much the full moon affects me. I get sick. I had the worst migraine last night. Oh my God. But I want to thank some people for having supported me lately. I got another nice order this morning when I opened my email for a FootFriend multi-tool. Right now I have 2 FootFriend multi-tools to make, and it's really rainy outside for the next couple of days. Starting Thursday, it's supposed to be super nice and sunny for about a week, and so I'm going to head over to the barn and make those. But yesterday I got a nice order for this that I already have made. This is a wooden spine roller in the largest size that I make, 2¼ inch wide for somebody up to 240 pounds. And hopefully that person really enjoys this roller and also loses weight and gets healthy. Unless they're just a really big person naturally, I imagine they need to lose some weight. But you know, I generally don't say that because you guys know that I'm not into losing weight. I'm into getting healthy. Okay, that's what the channel is all about. Helping yourself to get healthy by natural means. And that little tool, that is a back cracking meister. And this one was actually thrown on a CDC machine. And so it's a little bit more perfect than ones that I've made thrown by hand on the table saw. But look at that cherry. That is some pretty wood. Isn't that nice? Look at that. That one, that looks like Jupiter. Doesn't that look like kind of like Jupiter? So these are fully width adjustable. You just turn the nut on the inside. And you can make it thinner, tighter together, or you can make it farther apart. And it's really nice. That feature isn't just something that like, oh yeah, so what? That feature is really important because when you move those right together and it pushes directly on your spinal processes, those little knobs that you can feel your spine sticking out from your back, then it cracks the back even deeper. And then when you move them apart, these edges work against your scapulas better. So this is for a really large person, but that's I can roll on that still. And it's just a high quality product that somebody is going to enjoy for a long time if they use it. I want to show you something else that I have right now that's really valuable. Right now I have four regular FootFriends that are just sitting there in the storage room ready to go. These are done. They're totally finished and ready to go. And I use this every single night. This tool is only $80 and it will last your whole life. And I've got 4 of them ready to go. You can use it every single day to massage your own feet and get a lot of relief. And it's not as fancy as the stone one or the multi-tool, but for the most part, this is really all you need. Because you can turn your foot in different angles and still get the same effect as the multi-tool. You know, so this tool works 90% as good, and only $80, and it's simple, and also the blade is wider too. See, with the multi-tool, the blades are only that wide because they have to fit into a slot. And one of the cool things about the regular one is that it's got a wider blade. And these new ones that I make them so that they'll fit. I get the maximum size on them. so that they'll fit into the 24 by 8 by 4 box that I ship them in. So they're slightly bigger than when I first made them, and they're just a great tool. Check it out. Here's the smallest one that I sell. That one's for somebody that's like a 1.5 inch wide per side, and that's for somebody that's like 120 pounds and up to 120 pounds. I'll show you how much different the width is on them. Pretty much a lot of difference, huh? That's the biggest one I sell, and that's the smallest one. I'm really excited to pour the latex into these shoes. It's going to be so cool. After I see, one of the things with inventing is kind of getting yourself going on the first one, you know. And especially if you already tried, like myself, I've already tried to make natural shoes before. And the first pair, like 8-9 years ago, probably 10 years ago now, I tried to make a pair out of wool, like using rug material. And I was like, I think this is going to wear out, but we'll see how long it lasts. And it was an interesting, I put the link to it on the last video that I made at the end of the video. It's interesting to look back on videos that I made years and years ago. Now think about this. When I'm 70, I will have made videos for how long? Like 30 years? When I'm 80, I can look back at videos, if YouTube is still around, that I made 40 years ago. But right now, I can look back at videos I made in 2009, so 12 years. 12 years. Kind of interesting. But the first pair was made out of Indian rug material on the bottom, and it wore out. And then I made it out of wool filled with latex rubber, and that wore out, as I showed you in that last video. But I think that these are going to be good to go. And here's the kicker that I forgot to tell you in the last video. I believe that when the rubber does wear out in these, I don't know how long it'll last, we'll see. But I believe that when the rubber does wear out in these, I'll be able to take it and peel it off of here, just like I did with that little piece on that leather. I'll be able to take it and pry it, put like a butter knife or something in between the edge and peel it up, and then rip it off of there and put a new sole on these. Exactly the same way. All I'll have to do is take this piece of paper and glue and tape it back all around the outside of that. And I'm gonna have to flatten this, like tape it to a flat surface to get it nice and flat because it's got a little bit of bend. But just do the whole thing over again and pour new latex onto the bottom of it. Roughen up the surface like that. See that? I took some sandpaper and I roughened it up a little bit to make it stick really good, the latex glue to it really good. But I think I'll be able to just put a new sole on these. Now think about that. Think about all the shoes that you've had in the past where the top part didn't wear out. It was the sole that wore out, and that's why you had to throw them away. Now in the past, years and years ago, they were able to put new soles on shoes. But I've never seen them pour new soles into shoes like this. I've never seen that before. That it was always that they sewed them on, or they glued and sewed. Like if you go to a cobbler, if you go to a cobbler with a pair of shoes that has a sole that's removable, they'll take all the stitches out and they'll rip the sole off and then they'll glue with toxic glue. There's one in West Asheville. There's an old cobbler in West Asheville, and when you go in there, the stink of that glue is like, oh my God. These people, they must have lost a lot of brain cells from breathing glue all day. So this isn't going to be anything like that. I'm simply taking this and making a mold and pouring liquid. I'm not gluing or sewing anything onto this. If this works out, this could be a game changer. Not just that I'll be able to sell shoes, but that I can make a video showing people how to make, not including the pocket part. Okay, so the pocket part is my thing, and it's possible that, I mean, it's likely that somebody will steal my idea, but people just being able to make their own shoes by watching a video that I create, it's entirely possible. All you need is a few leather tools, and it's really fun. And so, like, I imagine that people could take a piece of leather, make a pattern from their own foot, and then add these tabs on the side. And then all you need is the punch tool and an ability to just, all you need is scissors to cut everything out, cut straps. You have to make patterns. It's not really that difficult from there on out. And then you need buckles, brass buckles or whatever buckles. And so I think that it's feasibly possible for people, everyone, to make their own shoes. And like, there's so many different things that China makes for us that are full of chemicals that I think that a lot of people, just a basic thing like shoes, I think that we really need to get into this new mindset of like a lot of things need to be made ourselves. Not just because it's possible that we could have troubled relations with China in the future, which is definitely possible. But also because we realize that, hey, doing things naturally, this is far superior. I think that you're going to see from my testing, from me just testing the rubber and pouring it into a couple of small molds, I think that you're going to see that this turns out to be a really, really cool and durable and super healthy pair of shoes. Now, the next step with these is that right now there's a bunch of people that are learning how to make non-animal leather. One of them is made with mushrooms, and I think that there's a couple of different kinds of vegan leather out there that's being created. Now, I looked into not too long ago actually being able to buy some online, and I couldn't. It's not quite there yet, but as soon as this is able to be made, as soon as it's really durable, like that's the key. Can they make it durable and functional like real leather? Because this stretches. This leather, just like a baseball mitt, stretches and conforms perfectly to your feet. I mean, let me show you. These are in my Tevas that I don't wear very much. I only wear them in the winter when it's really cold. But like, look at that. Look at how cool the leather stretches perfectly to your feet. Now, this yoga mat rubber also conforms perfectly. And that's one thing that I don't know about with these. I'm a little bit leery, a little bit wondering whether or not that's going to work with these, the natural pure latex. This is also latex, but it's not pure. It's not pure. It's had something added to it, and it's got air bubbles in it. I'm not sure how they create this to be able to make this yoga mat rubber. See this? These are those pricey yoga mats from Jade Yoga. This is a Jade Harmony yoga mat. And for those of you that just have a regular petroleum-based yoga mat, that's crap. Don't get those. Get one of these natural latex yoga mats. But like I said, it's not pure natural latex like this. Look at the difference. Okay, so look at the difference. That, as you can see, that's pure natural latex. And that is so durable. That is so much more durable than that. This has had air injection into it, bubbles. I'm not sure exactly how they do that, but it's similar to papercrete, where what they do is they add soap to it and it makes bubbles, and then they let it dry. And what that does for them is it's a lot more cost efficient because you're not having to use near as much latex, and this is more kind of like giving. And to exactly how natural that is, I can't tell you, but I tell you that I would love to have a pure latex yoga mat like this. That would cost probably, I'll bet that would take a gallon. I'll bet that would take a full gallon of liquid latex. And I'd have to make a great big mold like on wax paper or something. But like imagine having a full yoga mat out of that pure latex, just that thick too. That'd be perfect. And you can make it whatever size you wanted too. See, that's another product that I could make. That's another, like there are so many products. Now think about this. I have so many things that I haven't even started to make because I'm working on my health and because I just don't have time. But if somehow, someday, and I'm sure it'll happen eventually, I can get this community going that I'm wanting to get started. It can be like Santa's workshop, okay? We can have all these people living there making natural health products and selling them. And just like, I don't know if you guys have seen this guy or if I shared it with you yet, but there's this guy that owns Gravity Payments in Oregon that cut his own pay from $1.1 million a year down to $70,000 a year so that he could increase the pay of all his employees, the ones that were only making $35,000 a year. Those people are all now making $70,000 a year. So everyone at Gravity Payments now makes 70 grand a year. And that's how it would be at our community. Because you see, you're looking at someone that realizes, you're looking at someone that's living currently on what they call poverty wage. What do they call it? Below the poverty zone. Okay, so I'm living below the poverty zone right now, the poverty level. And I'm doing just fine. I'm able to write off my business expenses, like the majority of this apartment, as you can see, is all business. This is all business. That whole room in there is pretty much business. So I'm able to write it off. So I'm able to live smartly, and I don't owe any money to anyone. And so I don't have to make payments on anything other than the rent for the apartment. And so I'm barely right now able to make enough to buy supplies and pay for my food and my bills and the apartment, etc. And it's really low. It's low, but it's not as low as I can go. If I can buy some land somehow, someday, and we can have a building or everyone works at their own house. Okay, so everyone gets to work. They don't even have to walk 50 yards to some kind of a building where everyone works. Everyone can just do their own, well, like sewing, everyone could have their own sewing machine. How much electricity does this use? That sewing machine, I've run that off the one battery in my car, the Car V. Remember when I first moved into that trailer and I didn't have any electricity yet? I was running an extension cord from the car into the trailer to be able to run lights and my sewing machine. When I lived in that Airstream. There's a person can run lights and a sewing machine off one solar panel and one battery here in North Carolina. Maybe not in Oregon, but imagine if you had 4 solar panels and 4 batteries. You'd have plenty of power to run all the things that you needed in one little house. People could live in one little house with no rent payment. Just imagine how much money I've paid over the years. That one big house that I lived in Woodfin near Asheville, where I had all the bars built into the ceiling, that was $1,000 a month. I know that doesn't sound like a lot to some of you, but that was $1,000 a month times 4 years, $48,000. $48,000 I paid over 4 years. It was a little more than 4 years, so it actually turned out to be just over $50,000 in rent that I paid for that one place. Here, it's $675 a month. I know that sounds cheap, and it is, compared to what most people are paying. But still, it's ridiculous because of how much the rent has gone up for people. How much real estate prices have gone up. I've got to go get some water. I'm dying of thirst. Okay, so with every downside, there's something good. Maura says, I have 3 pairs of Brett's orthotics, a millet hole pillow and a footprint. So nice. Yes, thank you, Maura. Thank you. I'm really glad that you enjoy the products. So, now I don't want to sound cruel, but what comes up, everything that comes up must eventually go down. Everything that rises must fall eventually. And we've seen the real estate prices go up like mad for a long time, and so many people have gotten into that business. I knew this girl, she bought a house in Phoenix at the perfect time. 2 years later, she was able to sell it for double or more than what she paid. And all of that is interesting. And it all sounds like, for somebody like me, like a big scam. Like somebody, for every winner, there's a loser. So who's the losers? We're seeing the losers now. You know, all of us that have to pay so much money for rent, or people that are out on the streets because they can't afford to pay any rent, we're seeing who the losers are for that industry now. And eventually, I would say that the prices of housing and the rents are going to come down. And one way that that could happen is if there are a lot less humans. If a lot of people die and the population of humans in the United States and elsewhere goes way down, there's going to be a lot of vacancies. If there's a lot of vacancies, the prices are going to go down. So that's one positive thing that can come about from the deaths of people. And in the world that we live in right now, where people are so unhealthy and they're so polluted, people have like you're looking at somebody that knows deeply how much it takes to get all of the heavy metals and parasites and the V's out of your body, and candida and mucoid plaque. You're looking at somebody that's been through the ringer to get all of that out. And my body continues to go through this. Like last night, for some reason, that full moon just kicks my butt. And so, like, I think that people are so deep in bad health that anything like this that comes along is real trouble. Like any kind of a glitch, any kind of a glitch in people's health or in the public health that comes along. And the medical industry has not promoted natural health to any degree, hardly at all. And that's why they're paying the price. They're paying a serious price for their mistake in the past. And then the people that didn't want to hear, like when a doctor finally got wise, or they finally got to the point of where they were just sick of people complaining about the drugs. Oh, give me another one to cover up what the last one did. Da, 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 da. So the doctors finally get to this point where they're like, you better lose weight. You need to lose weight. That's what they would tell them. You need to start exercising. And then the patient just gets mad and disses them for that. They're like, they don't want to do it. They don't want to start taking responsibility for their own health. So maybe they went to another doctor. And so then that doctor, there's money to be made in all of that. It's all a big racket, and it goes around and around and around. One hand feeds the other, and nobody's willing to accept the truth and look at things for the way they really are. They just want to stop at McDonald's on their way home because they're so tired from working all day that they don't have the time or energy to go home and make good food. So what do? They just stop at McDonald's, they stop at Burger King, they stop at Pizza Hut. They love pizza. The most popular restaurant in this town that I live in is the one that I take you to sometimes in my videos, and I show you that there's plenty of money in selling beer and pizza. And so they've got so much money that they can afford to pay a musician on Tuesdays and Saturday nights. And that's great for me. I can go down and listen to them. It's outside, so I'm not expected to really buy anything. I can sit there on the grass and make a little video for y'all, and we get to benefit from all the money that's made from beer and pizza. But you won't see me eating any beer or pizza. I should make a video where I take my own health food down to that restaurant. But in any case, all of that is unsustainable. Specifically, eventually, the you-know-what is going to hit the fan, and they're all going to be dead. And in the beginning, remember, back a year and a half ago, whatever it's been now, has it been 2? No. I can't even remember. I'm losing my train of thought on that. But in the beginning, we were thinking, I'm sure that anyone with a brain was thinking, I wonder where this will lead. Will millions and millions of people die? Will half the population die? Will all the population die? Is humanity doomed? And we just don't know still how far it'll go. But I think that anyone that's lived this life for very long, knows that quick fixes aren't worth it. You just know, like, it doesn't matter if you're in Great Britain, like my friend Maura there. It doesn't matter if you live in Washington State or wherever you live, Russia, Antarctica. It's eventually going to find you, And if you're not very healthy, you may be done. And anybody that's opted for quick fixes, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, because quick fixes, there are people out there that are real science lovers. They totally believe that science has the answer to everything. But I don't believe that science can compensate for that one little thing that I believe. Quick fixes are never worth it. I don't believe that science can override that. Just my thoughts. And I'll stick to my basic premises till the day I die. So I want to thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate you. Stay tuned. Natural shoes. Everything else about these, the straps and everything that I did, and the natural orthotic part in this, filling that up, it all worked perfectly with the last pair. So that last pair was really, really awesome, other than the sole wearing out. But this time, I think that that is going to be good to go. I don't know that this pair will be, I'm sure there's always going to be improvements. And I'll figure out more improvements with this pair. The goal after that would be to come up with a way to be able to custom make these from anywhere. You know, people can send me patterns and I'll be able to send them a pair of custom made shoes, all natural shoes that will fit them perfectly. And that may be a little bit of a challenge, but I think I can do it. I've thought about this. I've thought about this quite a bit, but I have a lot more thinking to do, because being able to, I made these for the last pair, the last kind, for one person, and she loved them. But once again, the soles wore out on hers eventually, just like mine did. But being able to make a pair of these for somebody that can come over here and have them fit, I can fit them right here on the spot to them, that's not too difficult. But being able to make these for somebody, have them just send me a pattern or several patterns of their feet or pictures of their feet so that I can make them here without them being here, may be a little bit more of a challenge. The thing you'll notice with these shoes is that they're made the shape of my foot. Whereas most shoes are round in the top, notice how wide these are, and notice how they're the shape of my foot. That's the logical way. The way they make shoes in mass production is round and not as wide. And I don't really, it's just so that everyone can wear them. Anyone can throw those on and they feel somewhat decent. When a pair of shoes is made specifically for the pair of feet that they're supposed to fit on, that is the way. And all natural materials. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. Thanks for comments from everybody. Thanks, Jason. Jason says, Bright makes the best quality health products everyone should be using for their health. How do I know they are good quality? Because I own his millet pillow and back roller. Thanks, Jason. Get yourself a foot friend next. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Bye.